Hello there, and welcome to our place in Sicily, where we're renovating an old palazzo. Today we're in the guest house, and we're going to talk about where we are on this project. Welcome everybody to our palazzo. We are in the guest wing and we're looking up into some of the main house because we don't have a ceiling here. If you're new to our place in Sicily, I hope you'll check out some of our other videos. But I'm Jen, my husband is Matt, and we bought an abandoned palazzo. We're on the slopes of Mount Etna, which is a volcano on the eastern coast of Sicily, and we're slowly but surely renovating a palazzo. The guest house, which is really just like the rooms attached to the main house, is going to be our home while we finish the rest of this magnificent palazzo. Well, it was once magnificent, and we hope to make it magnificent again. Where we are, for those of you who have been following along, is we've got all of the ground floor pretty much covered with the, I'm going to turn around here, with this mesh. I know what we call mesh in the US is a little different, but this metal grid. And now the team is covering it and sort of tying it into the wall with cement. Now, I had mentioned before that I thought we were going to spray this layer on, and that is an option, but you've got to, if you don't own that machine, which is not, viable for every sort of small builder, you would rent it, or you would hire a business that would do that, come in and help with that. You can also do it sort of the old school way. I guess the old school way would be without electricity, but our guys are taking this and mixing it in here, which is where you started out the video. And then bucket by bucket, the guys, Leonardo, Alfio, actually I think two Alfios, and Stefano, our builder, are sort of, for lack of a more graceful term, slapping that here on our walls. So behind this cement mixture, you can see here, this just hasn't been done yet because it's sort of hiding behind the scaffolding, is tying in the cement to the metal, to the stone below. And to not make you watch every video, we're doing this to strengthen these walls because we have, we're putting on a new roof. We always knew the roof was going to need to be replaced. It's very old. It's got those beautiful sort of terracotta tile. If you don't know Italian terracotta tile, it's also like a Spanish tile kind of thing on the roof. And then up in our corner here, way up there, we have a little bit of a crack. Again, things we knew. People always ask us that, and I'm just pointing that out to you because when you do a construction project like this, anywhere in the world, when you start removing the surfaces, you start uncovering new problems. But these are so far problems that we knew about. And eventually you get enough of the stuff stripped back, there aren't any more problems because you can see everything. So anyways, because we're putting on that new roof, which will be heavier, we want to strengthen that back corner there where we do have a crack because we are in earthquake world. This isn't what I've been told by our architect, Architetto Gripaldi. You've also heard me call him Igor because he's also a friend of ours. But our architect is that we want to strengthen these walls. They're made with stone and mortar or mortar-like substance, and they've already at least 150 to 200 years old. We don't want them to disintegrate and fall apart. So this will help strengthen that. It'll help support the new roof, which will have added weight because we're going to add a whole layer to it that's watertight. Because we're in modern times, folks, and because we're going to put some rods iron rods up in that corner with the crack to reinforce it. We want these walls to be as strong as possible. This wasn't in our original plan to have to do all of this exactly like that, but we knew we were gonna have to do something, and we're totally cool with this. It also will help a bit with being in an earthquake zone. Honestly, I know everybody worries about us being on the slopes of a volcano, but we should be more worried about the earthquakes here than the volcano. And the earthquakes, there hasn't been a bad earthquake since 1693. And at that point, a lot of what was bad about it is that the buildings weren't built, well, they were built pre-1693. So we didn't have the science or whatever to build stuff then. I should move slower, so as I move around, you can actually see stuff. These two door openings go into the main house, into the main vestibule. We'll be closing this one up. We're working on what we want to put there. I'll actually tell you about it so you can weigh in. So we were going to put a built-in bookshelf here. And then across the way, there's also a door that goes into the other part of the main house that echoes it. So we're going to close up both, so when you come into that main hallway, it's symmetrical. But the architect, Igor, had a fantastic idea. I love it when I get random emails with ideas, because he's on site and he's like, wait, I need to tell you about this. What do you think? Can I explore this idea? And I usually say run with it, because it's always a brilliant idea. He's considering putting, indenting this doorway space from the entryway, so that it's almost like a giant niche that we can put some LED lights in and have an art moment there. I think between Igor, the architect, Jenn, our designer, working with us out of the US, she will come here too, and myself, that we can come up with a really good solution to be able to do both of those. I think both are important. I think an entryway is like the first 10 seconds of a speech. You want to really capture your audience. But I also think a bookshelf is useful. Love a good bookshelf. Am I weird? Do you agree? Everybody raise your hand if you want a bookshelf. Everybody raise your hand if you want a niche, a big giant art niche. And I guess, give me 2 thumbs up in the comments if you want me to figure out how to do both. So anyways, we are covering these walls. We're going to go a little dark here as we walk to the back so you can see. We've got a little more light. We're in the afternoon. The guys have left, and I feel more comfortable walking around and talking. They are great, and they will pause for a video with me every time. In fact, I have a little footage here of kind enough to very manual without spray. You guys are good at it, and I love that they stop whenever I want a video. They actually ask if we want them now. I don't have to ask anymore. Just very kind. I don't want to ever interrupt them. So we come after hours. This space is the kitchen and sort of the little study side room here. Kitchen this way. And you can see this is what they did just before the weekend, and this is what they did today. It's a Monday. So you can see it's still wet. When I touch it, it doesn't feel wet. I mean, there's a coolness to it, but it feels dry to me. Totally, like there's nothing on my hands. So they're going to do this. This is our first layer. Igor, our architect, because he speaks English very well, like fluently, I asked him to sort of explain how the layers work here. So this one can be put on like we're doing it manually, by hand. I guess everything is manually, but by bucket and not spray method. And this is a number of number of centimeters deep. I'm sorry, Americans, I'm really converting to the metric system, so you'll have to all convert with me. But you can see, oh, I'm making my own shadow here. Look at that. Let's see if I can get out of the shadow. So this stone down here had some plaster on it. They pulled that off so they could get close to this stone. Also to not keep making the room smaller and smaller by just adding stuff to it. Then we've added this metal bar. Kind of works like little tiny rebar. And then they've tied that to the wall with bigger pieces of rebar. You can see a piece here, but this has gotten covered with cement here. I'll pull that off so you can see the sort of rebar, what we would call rebar. And now they're tying it to the wall, and there's a thickness here. So this is the thickest layer. On top of this will become a plaster layer. It's not a plaster like we do, like plastering a wall, joint compound finish stuff. It's a thicker, it's a slightly thicker. I'm trying to remember what the architect said. It's like a centimeter, maybe 1.5 centimeters deep. And then the layer on top of that is our finish, which could be another plaster, I believe. It can be a stucco. It could be a Venetian plaster. It could be a mini cement, which is probably, a micro cement, which is probably what we're going to put in the main sort of bedroom ensuite, bathroom ensuite in the back. Which I'll walk back there while we talk, because that's going to be a wet room, and you can finish that so it has texture, the micro cement, or it can be totally smooth. You can tint it. I think there's resin in it and cement, and it's just a finer sand. As we use all these things and decide them, you will get to learn along with me. I think micro cement is really a newer. Oh, listen. Can you hear a donkey? I don't know where the donkey is because there's not like farmland right nearby, but somebody around us in the middle of town has a donkey, and every once in a while I hear him, and it makes me so happy. So this room out here, there's no room there, but there will be a bathroom there, and this will be an exit door. This is out onto the bedroom terrace, which you can walk out into the private little garden for this little wing of the house, so that we could rent this out, lend it out. Just if we had people staying with us, maybe we have friends with a little kid and they want their own space, so we're not waking them up, keeping them up, or they have a safe place to play that the pool is not in. But that's the main garden out this window. So yeah, there's the top layer is the thinnest. Igor, the architect, said to say, think of it as just the paint layer. It's just that could be a complicated paint layer, unlike we do in the States. We kind of just paint the walls, right? You drywall, you tape up the drywall seams, you may plaster, you may have a texture, depending where you are in the States. But here we have so many more things that people do. So we'll decide on that. And some of them, like, I believe there's like a stucco that you basically add the color to, so you don't paint it. It's like an all-in-one thing, which is kind of exciting to me as we go along. We found out a lot of our walls, if you watched a previous video, a lot of our walls do have some lead-based paint in them, which is not a big deal because we were going to leave some of them sort of the raw, sort of worn, the raw worn look. We'll just plaster them, which is what most normal people would have done, or finish them however we want to finish them. So it'll be sealed in, it won't be a problem. Or that part is going to be removed regardless. Not important, but we will be doing all sorts of different layers here as we go along. But we get to start an experiment here in the guest house. Okay, what else do I want to say? I just want to say other things we've been working on is we've been grape picking. You may have seen our video last weekend. Grape picking is a great activity for people who are shorter than 5'9". I'm going to find a solution so that I can keep helping friends with grape picking. Did I say wine picking before? I probably did. With grape picking, I want to find a seated place. It's just like I'm too tall, and the way they grow the grapes is low, so they hang off the bottom of the vines, and they just and they may even trim off grapes that happen above because they want it to be easy to pick. They want the plant to focus on growing one particular thing, but the leaves get in the way because I'm too tall. And so you have to like bend over in a weird way, and it makes it hard on your back if you're too tall. I haven't been too tall for too many things, but grape picking, I'm going to try to find a kind of, see if I can find a good like off-road sitting bench so I can just like push myself along a whole thing, because if I could do that, I could cut twice as much. I could be twice as useful, and I wouldn't hurt in the morning. My next up is to go olive picking. Matt did some of that already this weekend while I was gone, just for an overnight girls bonding weekend, which was a lot of fun. But I'm going to go with another friend who has a farm and help her pick some olives next week. So you won't get to see that probably until a week or two from now. But I'm really excited about that. Also, better for tall people. You know, it's like nobody asks somebody who's 4'5" if they play professional basketball, but my nephew, who's like 6'9", the poor kid gets asked if he plays basketball all the time, and he did. So I am meeting more and more interesting people who somehow are tied to Sicily in all different ways. They came here because of family. They came here because of family that used to live here. Their ancestors lived here. And they're coming back to their roots. People who are coming here to make wine. People who are coming here to learn something new. And I just want to say thanks to any of those people who are now new viewers. Thank you for making our lives even more interesting. We want to assimilate with Sicily, but the interesting thing is that modern Sicily is becoming diverse in where people have come from, what people want to do, and I'm really excited to be part of this new underlying thing while being a part of beautiful old Sicily at the same time. So I hope you guys are enjoying a little bit of that in our stories as we share them. But for now, I just wanted to show that we are working. We are getting up our cement. We have decided where all of our outlets and switches will go. And like, I can't knock on wood. By the way, they say, I think it's tocca ferro, touch metal or touch iron, instead of knock on wood here. That we've got them mostly in the right places. The goal was, let's put them everywhere we think we need them, so we only have to make a few holes when nobody said this, but I know what they meant when I changed my mind, because I am a fantastic mind changer, and I hope I always will be. So that kind of wraps up what our construction is right now. The guys have a lot more to go, and also not much to go. It's interesting because I see a big pile of sand and cement in the other room, but also it's feeling really like we're making a lot of progress. So I hope you enjoyed this one. Until our next video, ciao, 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 ciao. That's actually how everybody says goodbye on the phone. They go ciao, 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 ciao. Nobody can get off the phone here. So until next time, ciao, 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 ciao.